Let me tell you something you already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how
My name is Reyna, and I'm a wrestler here at Mount Vernon High School. And this year I wrestled at the 132-pound weight class. I started wrestling when I was about 7 years old. That's when I very first started. I quit after like 2 years though because I felt like I didn't really like it. My dad was sort of making me wrestle at first because it was something that he did when he was in high school. He wanted me to be better, so he was trying to start me off when I was a little kid. And it was pretty cool at first, but I didn't really know anything. I just showed up and like I would even get beat by girls and things like that. And this was at Cedar Woolley Steel Claw. And you know, so I quit. I ended up quitting, and you know, I regret that because I know if I would have kept going since I was 7 years old, I could have been a multiple-time state champion. I could have won all these national titles. I would have been a way better wrestler than I am now. So after my second year of wrestling, I was 9 and I decided to quit. It was during a match. I was losing, and I told my dad, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. And he told me, all right, you won't have to do it anymore, but just don't tell me again to take you. Because he would always take me to Cedar Woolley, and he was taking his time to take me, and I kind of like let him down. So I stopped doing that. I ended up playing soccer for the next 4 years until I decided to join wrestling again towards the end of 6th grade, beginning of 7th grade. And that's when I really started trying to wrestle again. When I started wrestling again, like in my middle school years, it was tough. You know, coming back from not wrestling for 4 years because I was doing soccer was hard. You know, I chose to come back, but I wasn't very good at all. I lost all my skill that I had attained earlier, and I basically had to start all the way from the bottom. There was only a few of us during the summers. I would train during the summers, and there was about maybe 4 of us that really wanted to be really good, and we were being trained by Derek Garcia's dad, which he's a 4-time state champion, so we were being trained by his dad. And you know, we went hard. You know, we'd run stairs, and I was barely a 7th grader, so I wasn't fully even developed with my strength. So I started training again, and I picked it up to the next level. I started training and training and training. I would even do double practices sometimes, work on my own. My dad even bought me a home mat at my house, and I would just wrestle around and just shadow wrestle, and that really helped me. So the summer going into my freshman year, I decided to go to a wrestling camp in Oregon, and it was a 2-week camp, intensive camp, and it was with the head coach from Oregon State. And this wasn't your ordinary little camp. This was like intense, like college wrestling, and it was top of the line training from probably the best wrestlers from Oregon and Washington. I mean, these guys were good. It was 2 weeks. I didn't know anybody there. I was pretty young. I was one of the younger ones there. Everybody else was like in high school already, seniors. And I was able to train with them, and this really brought me to the next level. So going into high school wrestling, I was pretty excited, but I was nervous at the same time. I didn't know what to expect. I thought I wasn't going to be good compared to all these high school people. They were all stronger than me. But I gave it a shot, and I gave it my best. My freshman year, I worked hard, you know. I wanted to make the 103 weight class. I was around 110, so I had a couple pounds to drop, and I was able to make varsity my freshman year, and I was pretty happy. You know, I came with the attitude that I could win and that I could go through. And my goal was to make it to state. I wanted to make it to state ever since I started wrestling. That's a goal of any wrestler, to make it to state and win a state championship. So I made it to the state tournament. This was my dream, and it was huge. I had already been there to go watch my cousins, but once you're down on the mat, it's something amazing. You know, it's an unexplainable feeling being on that mat with all the people looking at you. You know, I almost got an anxiety attack at my first match. You know, they were calling me Luis Reyna to mat 1, Luis Reyna. I was one of the first matches up because I was the lightest weight class. And you know, when they're calling your name, you get really nervous. You don't know what to do, and then you're up there on the mat, and it's all eyes are on you. At least you think all eyes are on you. I don't even know how I beat him. I was able to pin him with 0.3 seconds left on the clock. And the ref even told me after the match, man, I don't know, how do you pin someone with 0.3 seconds left, man? Sophomore year, started off all wrong, you know. I ended up breaking my elbow, and I couldn't wrestle for like 2 months, starting off the first couple of months of the season, and it just messed me up horribly. I couldn't move my arm at all, so I had to just start therapy, intensive therapy, and I had a late start, you know. I started back up, kind of taking some JV matches, trying to feel my arm out, and when my coach thought it was ready, I wrestled my first varsity match, and it was versus Burlington, and it was my debut back. I felt good, you know, my arm wasn't hurting, and I wanted to prove myself that I was ready to come back. So I went out there, and I beat the kid. I think I teched him, so that was a pretty good win for Mount Vernon. I felt good through the whole season, and you know, I had my downfalls in and out throughout the season. I lost a couple matches, but at the end, I finished my highest at the state tournament. I got 4th place at state. So my junior and senior year, they were full of injuries. And my senior year was the worst. I didn't make it to the state tournament. I made it to regionals. I was one match, like I said, I was one match away from making it to the state tournament, and I didn't make it. I lost in overtime, and I didn't make it to state, you know. It was one of the hardest losses I've experienced in my wrestling career. You know, I was used to making it to state all my years, and then this senior year I didn't make it to state. And you know, I looked down at myself, you know. I thought, you know, how could this happen, you know? But I looked at myself and I thought, you know, there's more to wrestling. You know, I had a good career, and you know, things happen for a reason, you know. And I want to give back to the sport by just keep going to Bandit Wrestling Academy, and you know, helping train the kids there and giving back everything that they gave to me. And it's going to be a great experience.